for 4 years today. Yay! It literally saved my life. If you know my story, I was sick for like 32 years, had over 60 surgeries. I was always sick, always in hospitals, myriad of things wrong. One of those, which we're going to talk about treating today with the recipe that I'm using, mast cell activation syndrome. All my symptoms went very, very quickly on a raw food diet. I did notice as I got into the really sweet fruits and juicing, a lot of my symptoms started to come back. I have struggled to get those back under control, but how I have managed to get those symptoms under control seems to be a high omega-3 diet. Oh, I need to take those labels off. And a low histamine diet. So that combination can probably seem overwhelming for a lot of people. I'm going to share, and I do share as much as I can. I have found coaching people that this diet works really well too. And I've linked in the description a resource folder. I call it my mast cell activation syndrome folder. It's got high histamine foods, low histamine foods, all raw vegan. It's got what mast cell activation is. It's got what I eat in a day. I add to this folder all the time. I find, you know, it's not like a blueprint for everyone, but it's good to know that something which heals the unhealable. It seems that lowering the load on the digestive tract as much as you can by hydrating. Hydration really, really helps, not just keep putting in food all the time. With like juices, I use like celery juice, cucumber juice, green apple can sweeten it. That really helps throughout the day. And then I make these high omega-3 lunches. Hey, Tessa! And I have found them really satisfying. And I did a live on the weekend and I finally nailed, I was still going back to bed and getting tired, and I've got rid of in my diet nutritional yeast and onion powder, any spice. I am literally eating what you might think is a really plain diet, but when something gives you your health, oh my God, you're in so much gratitude. I just want to be healthy. I'm not here to sell you anything, any diet. I'm just here to say that I am healthy when I eat this way. And I have struggled, even though being a raw vegan, 4 years raw vegan today, literally saved my life. I got myself into a situation where a lot of the food was setting me off again. And I feel like the raw food diet can end up being a diet where you actually are avoiding a lot of problems, but I want to get in and fix problems. And if you don't know, the omega-3 pathway in the body is extremely anti-inflammatory. I'm not here to go into too much detail today. I did that in the live I did on Saturday. But I'm here to kind of show you what I'm eating. And just, I'm so grateful to not be tired. That was the last symptom. That chronic fatigue is hard to get rid of. So Tessa had chia pudding earlier. Yay. Any omegas. Like, I have actually found so easily foods which are not high in omega-3, which are more high in omega-6, seem to sneak back. I like start feeling better having flaxseed and chia seed, and then I'm like, oh, I'll just add some pumpkin. Now I'm doing better, some pumpkin seed. I'll just add some avocado. And all of these things seem to, all of a sudden, before I know it, I'm not having any chia or flax, and I get a histamine response, like a massive one, where my eyes are scratching, my stomach hurts, I've got digestive issues, joint pain, nerve pain. I then need to have flax oil as the food source for a couple of days because my gut gets too inflamed to get seeds in. And once that inflammation response lowers, as soon as I can, I'm not great with oil, I just don't feel good. I get these back in with cruciferous vegetables. I have found that these feel right for a couple reasons. I feel satiated. I crave them. I've got cauliflower and I've got purple cabbage today. I love Brussels sprouts as well. I'll have some mushrooms with that. What I was finding when I was doing like cucumbers or zucchinis is I was feeling a bit bloated from zucchinis, but cucumbers, which I used to love, and celery, I've had a few teeth problems and sensitivities after doing a lot of fruit. And I find this doesn't bother my teeth. And I have this with chia and flax and I feel satiated. I can put some cucumber in, but I find at the moment this is helping. And a lot of people go, oh, don't you get bloated? Well, when you first start, you do this slowly. As I said, I started with flax oil and cruciferous, and then I moved to this. And yes, if anyone's listening, this If you want to find a lot of information, Dr. Brooke Goldner has a protocol. I don't do her protocol. I just find I have to do what works for me. And for me, the hydration comes from juices still. But they're like, she's amazing. I want her on my channel when I get back from my holiday. So chia water is easy and cheap. Yes, chia water is good, but remember, we are blending up. I've got my little grinder here, our chia and flax, because we want to start with them whole, and we want to grind them up and get that omega-3, which is so hard to get. It's like gold, liquid gold, right? Because it goes rancid really quickly. That's why if you're going to use oil, use a good quality cold press that's been kept in the fridge. Chia water will give you some vitamins. The stomach will break some of it down, but I'm trying to get in as much as I can. And also I usually use Lou Corona's enzymes, the Pure Life, to help me with meals. Just, I don't have a stomach or duodenum to digest the food, and a bit of probiotics in that as well, but I'm out. I do have another brand there, but I didn't like them. So if I have digestive issues, I'll take some because it usually does help, but I'm not someone who likes to take things. So red is a good color on you. Thank you. I love color. I love the bright. I'm about to go to Queensland. Oh, also tomorrow I'm hopefully doing a live with Freely up in Queensland. So watch. I can't preset or tell you what time because I don't know when we're meeting up, but it should be about this time tomorrow, but maybe 2 hours ahead of this. 2-3 hours, which would be so exciting. She's amazing. But I've got my colored nails done for my trip. So try snack juice. I don't know what snack juice is. I use my Vitamix. It liquefies the chia seeds. That's a great idea. I have, because I'm doing low histamine, I have found creating a dressing very challenging. So there's no tomatoes, there's no lemon, there's no apple cider vinegar. So I have found just doing like dry, it sounds dry, but I find getting the omega-3s in keeps me really hydrated, moist, like everything stays in. When I was doing what I was doing before, it was like I was drinking things and the cells couldn't hold on to the liquid. It was just not happening. So even though it sounds dry, I love it. And I think if you crave a food, like I literally crave this. I've been eating this meal most days, throughout the day, snacking on it. I literally crave it. It's like the best. I feel good. It's crunchy. It's satiating. I would love to get to a point where the omega-3s have helped me enough, so much so that I can have other meals. But at the moment, yeah, so come to the US and work out with me. I'm going to the US soon. I'm meeting Jillian Berry I'm really traveling this year, aren't I? In New York. So that will be fun. Stay tuned for that. Healer, yes, okay. Speaking of gut health and not having a stomach, I use sea salt. I do like Himalayan. This time I was called towards using sea salt, but that sodium chloride really helps the hydrochloric acid. Like I've heard people who've had digestive issues literally coat their food in salt. And you know, people like think there's adverse things to salt. There is nothing more adverse than having undigested, bloated stomach, but you can't even get it to the next section of your gut. So it's all about a push and pull, and we do the best we can with the most natural ingredients we can. So let's get to making my very simple, and I can tell you ways to dress this up, but in truth, a lot of the people who are really sensitive that I work with who do this, especially if you're really sensitive, if you try doing a high omega-3 diet that is low in histamine, my stomach just went flat straight away. Like I was having, the whole time I was on fruit, if you look back at photos, there's just like this stomach I can't get rid of because I couldn't digest it, and I think I get SIFO and SIBO and all sorts of things. That all went down. But it does take time for your body, your microbiome to adjust. So go easy. Yeah. Do I have Snapchat? Yes, I do, but I don't use it. Hey! If anyone wants to get in contact with me, there's my email, which is rawskye, ROARSKYE, or find me on Instagram. What do I want to do first? I want to get a bowl, which I didn't get. I'll get a glass bowl so you can see what I'm eating, but usually I use just a plastic bowl. Ooh, what is that? That's a bit gross. Okay, that's on the outside. All right, we've got a glass bowl. We'll put everything in there so you guys can see. And I will cut this. I absolutely love this. I sometimes get broccolini as well. Broccolini, I usually don't get like any other cabbages. I really get what I'm called to, and that is purple cabbage. Cauliflower is the best. I love it. I love being satiated, like feeling nice and full. I don't know how much cauliflower is actually in here. I feel like I'm like digging and digging. Not much. Oh my God. There's like no cauliflower in here. There's like the tiniest, oh my God, this is all leaves. All of that for like this little head. Anyway, I'm grateful. I am grateful for this. And I'll show you the mix. I usually use white chia. That's not white. And golden flax. I find them easier on my digestive system. I find the darker ones a bit more fibrous, but I will live. Also, the only other thing I have during the day is sometimes I have a matcha with a little bit of hemp milk, because hemp is still high in omega-3s. Oh my gosh, so much going on here. And I usually do this throughout the day, so I'll have like a little bowl of it, and then I might have some more. Let me just wash this. We don't want like bugs. And yes, this is all filtered water. My tap is filtered. To be honest, I usually make a bowl of this, start eating it, and then go ahead and make another bowl of it. Okay, so we've got our bowl here. And I actually haven't even been using my dehydrator. I find once I start getting histamine issues again, I'm better to eat as simple as I possibly can. It seems to really help. Just eat food plain. And throw it around. Oh, thank you. So Tessa said, I think it's, no, Sparkle of Whimsy has said, I love your last video. It was amazing, the MCAS one. That was on Saturday night for me. I just jumped on because I feel like I finally nailed my diet to help with mast cell and activation syndrome, and which is basically histamine or allergies to lots of things. And I really shared about my whole journey coming full circle, and how what I'm eating now is literally stabilizing. Not just stabilizing, actually healing a lot of these inflammation things that I just take for granted, especially the nerve pain, the trigeminal nerve pain that I've had through my eye since I had shingles. You just get used to things until their like volume in your body starts lowering, and this diet is doing that. So maybe we'll see. Like if you told my gastro doctor years ago that with no stomach I'm eating like cruciferous vegetables and seeds, he'd be like, you're nuts. But it really just shows what the human body is capable of doing when you set up a microbiome over time, which can digest and break down this type of food. Okay, so that there, we could do a couple mushrooms I've got going on here too. Let me get that going on. I also like that, I think that live I did, and when I talk, I come from the experience of, I got on raw foods, I've done like lots of high fruit for years, and then I've done greens, and I've done the keto, I've done mono fruits, and this is probably one where you keep working at, but I feel like I'm getting somewhere. You could call this like the Brooke Goldner one, right? It's a little different, but it's kind of like her theory. So far for mast cell activation and histamine issues, this one works really well. Yeah, okay, that seems like a lot in one sitting. Usually I have a break. I do have fruit as well. Usually my fruit intake is I'll have this and then within an hour I want a small amount of fruit, and that really hydrates me and keeps me going. And then in a couple of hours I'll have another one and then some fruit, and that kind of does me. So do you go to the doctors regularly still since you have had so many surgeries? No, you have to understand, because this has been over so many years. Like I had my stomach removed 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, 18 years ago. All my pelvic surgeries, which was most of them, they started when I was about 16 and they went up to when I was 30. So that was 15 years, but yet that stopped also 15 years ago. So I am 43. So this is all, there's like doctors for periods of time. And then the last doctors were neurological doctors and psych doctors, and I don't see them. But as for the surgeons, all the surgeries stopped when I was about 30. So that's 15 years ago. All those surgeries, those 60 surgeries, were within a 15-year period. So the doctor that I do see, I just happened to, when I got shingles, go to a medical center that had this great Indian doctor who had knowledge on raw foods. Like I said, I'm a raw foodist, and he's like, I know raw foods. He doesn't eat just raw foods. And I was like, how's my luck? So I just go to the local medical center and see him. And like even recently, when I broke my toe, he did the x-ray for that. And afterwards I had a few digestive issues, and I'm like, he goes, is there anything else? I'm like, my stomach's been a bit sore. And he goes, well, the body just gets rid of food. Like anything it doesn't serve it. And that was really refreshing. So it's like the universe, I feel like, has sent him to me. So yeah, and also he diagnosed me with mast cell activation syndrome. It did not come out until, only a few years ago. But after I had shingles, everything switched back on, like massively. If you have mast cell activation syndrome and histamine issues, you will know like a virus is just like, everything that you've worked towards can just come back. Okay. Dr. Goldner's protocol allows many avocados as you want. She says no weight gain or issues. That's so surprising to me. Yes, and I think knowing this kept me. I healed myself very similar. I haven't read the book of Brooke Goldner's, but I hear people say she was eating like a lot of guacamole and veggies. Pretty much how I healed myself, but it wasn't just flaxseed. I was having like other seeds. Then I got rid of them. It was pretty much avocados, veggies, and a small amount of fruit. So very similar. But when I was starting to trying to heal, I would try and do her protocol and try and fill up on all these avocados. If you have histamine issues, and she would tell you this, you can't have avocados and high histamine foods. And I read her group, people in the group are like, this diet's so hard, I can't have histamines, and I'm doing her diet. And a lot of them use flax oil, which I do when I flare, but it's really hard to digest. And a lot of people would say to me on this diet, well, how do you maintain your weight? I don't know. Like I have lost weight, but nothing dramatic. I don't know, like maybe my body's just used to absorbing food. I haven't lost a lot of weight. I do just eat when I'm hungry. I grind up these seeds, but I do think from working with people and myself, the key for people who are really sensitive seems to be low histamine, high omega-3s. If you're gut sensitive, hydrate with juices, green juice, which specifically for me seems to be celery, cucumber, a little bit of green apple to sweeten it. And if you want to add some greens in, I do say to people, like, I'm not a doctor. All I'm doing is sharing what works for me. And there's a folder underneath if you want to see what I do. I have tried to do, the thing I find is I will have a histamine flare up if I overeat. And to get in all of these smoothies and more liquid and a certain amount of food really puts my body under stress. That is no good for anybody with histamine response issues. Also, a huge part when I work with people and myself is if you want to stop eating, don't think you have to keep eating. Don't think I've got to get this in, I've got to get this in. If I do that, I will not only swell, I will get hives, and I'm stressed out, my body's stressed out. So this is about really hydrating, getting omega-3s in, but don't overstress your body with mast cell. Also low histamine foods, to the point my only flavoring right now is salt. That's the live I did on the weekend. I didn't realize it, but I had put myself back to bed. I could do lives, I could do Pilates, but when I wasn't doing them, I was back in bed and I was having little naps. And you could say, how do you not know you're back in bed? Well, when I work, I tend to either put my feet up on the couch or bed. And then next minute I'm under the covers. And before I know it, I think the body just, it's just normal to me to feel tired constantly, that chronic fatigue. And it was still happening, but I was having no mast cell flare-ups. So I was able to eat what I'm doing now and have nutritional yeast and onion powder and apple cider vinegar and not have a flare-up, including apple cider vinegar, which some people with mast cell are okay. I'm okay in small amounts. But I then still be tired, but no rashes or gut issues or static in the brain or joint pain. And then on the weekend, I did what I did when I healed and got rid of spice and just did salt. And I'm like, I'm up. Oh, and then on Sunday after I did my live, I put myself to bed and I'm like, I don't want to be in bed. Like I'm energized, I'm up. And that's what happened when I got well. And I just believe I'm really sensitive. I feel things straight away. With mast cell activation syndrome, you don't necessarily get the flare up directly after eating. You can get it 4 hours later, half an hour later, and this is what makes it really hard to diagnose. And as for symptoms, there's a link in the description to a kit which has some symptoms, but I've never met two people with the same symptoms or the main things that bother them or the same reactions at the same time or the same foods. So, so it says, how are you going to eat that without a stomach? Well, it's not really my stomach as much as it is the bacteria that break it down. So what I think you have to understand is this food is fresh and in its whole form. And for me, I don't seem to have a reaction. Can I eat a huge amount? No, but I've built up to this. My body's used to raw foods. It's done it for years. The difference between cooked foods and raw foods is the same as even adding those onion powders for me at the moment and nutritional yeast. It's about being up and functioning versus down. And I sometimes don't know I've gotten myself back down. So it's about, I think, what you're used to. My body doesn't even remember, I think, cooked food anymore. So what's up with the missing belly button? What are you talking about? My belly button's there. I've got a scar. I had my stomach duodenum and top of intestines removed. So I've got a scar, but they cut around my belly button. I've got it's from here all the way here. They went in there 3 times. They did a 4th. I'm back. I was about to end it. I'm back. Sorry. So yeah, that's my scar. It's all the way up here, down here. But it really shows what the human body can do. But I think what you have to understand is when I started raw foods, it just felt right. Like people would go, oh, how do you do that? I'm like, a doctor would say you couldn't do that, but I do. And I feel great. So overeating really throws my body off. Yeah, Tessa said that it's like the one thing where the root, I think, of a lot of chronic fatigue and disease just comes from food having to be digested. It's just like a lot. And this is mostly water and fiber. But go easy on this. Like I didn't just start eating. Well, I was already eating raw foods, but my fear, I think, was that fruit seems more digestible. But as I said, my stomach, it's flatter than when I was on. Like if you look at pictures of me, you'll see I have this belly the whole time I did fruit. But I felt good, really good. But I think the question is, how long can a gut be swollen for? Like I think there's a limit where it goes, no, this is all too much. And you get, I think, problems I've had in the past with like SIBO, digestive issues, all these hives came back and my mast cell. Hey, JJ. So I think Dr. Golder's info is really great. I love smoothies, but it's hard to get in all the smoothies or food on it. Yeah, I think I hear that a lot. Also, it's just, yeah, I found this works. And I think it's just that load is a little bit lower. Overeating can be bad, but tried water fasting and I felt bad on that too. I think there's such a balance. Yeah, we were talking about water fasting earlier, and that is I do see tremendous results for about 10 months, maybe even a year. And it's because you wipe your microbiome, but everyone goes back to their old patterns. You've actually got to face the fact that you've got to find a diet that works. You can't just think, I don't think there is actually some sort of magic, just one fruit or just this which will fix your problem. You'll eventually have to learn to have a diet which suits you. Even if for a period you've wiped your microbiome, your behavioral patterns have changed, for a period, we all go back to what we used to do. All right, now we're gonna see what I put on top of this. So I've got my little grinder. This is from Kmart in Australia. It was like $15 a couple of years back. It's just a coffee grinder. I assume you can get them lots of places. And as I said, usually I use the white ones. They're more digestible for me. So I get a tablespoon because I do know Dr. Goldner talks about having half a cup, but I actually feel better on the days that I have less food right now anyway. And then some days I eat more and I never feel as great, and I have no stomach. So think about that before you follow exactly what I do, but I just share because it might help somebody. Okay, so I usually do about 3. So it'll be like 1, 2, and then like 1/2. And this is not a full tablespoon. This is more likely maybe about 2. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do 2 of each. Okay, so that's 4 tablespoons. Now, I just grind that up into a powder. Okay, doesn't take long. And then I think one of the reasons I can't digest this is the salt. Like when I don't have salt, nothing I don't think digests properly, but once again, I don't have a stomach. So we're just like that, and then I tend to toss it around. Kind of to me reminds me of like crumbed veggies. And the more you toss this around, the more it kind of sticks, because these veggies are full of moisture. They're also water. So once you actually chew through this, most of it's water. If you look this up, I think these are in the 90s or high 80s% of water. So it's almost like an illusion. The brain's used to, especially if you're someone who eats meat or dense foods, it could only probably get like 3 or like that much in of a piece of meat, right? Because it's so dense and lacks water. And yeah, and then this is, throwing it around, is literally just crunchy water. And it's funny, you know, if I do swell from eating this, it's just food swell. It's not like I don't know, SIBO is such a, like it's like being pregnant and eating 2 things and the whole gut going like this, or things not moving through. I don't know, eating this food just seems to be making me move forward with my health. Okay, so they're looking just like crumbed veggies. If you go back over like my reels and videos, you'll see I've done a couple of recipes. I've done like an eggy salad. I've done chia bread, my 3-ingredient bread. But I have found that for my healing right now, I need to not do anything dehydrated. And this will not be forever. I don't want to do a diet that's forever again. I want it, raw, but like I want to eat like lots of things. But for now, I have to just do this. The other thing which will draw moisture out and make this stick more is salt. Okay. And then I just get a spoon and eat it. By the way, you look gorgeous. Red is your color, as somebody said. Thank you. I even put on a little bit of red lipstick for this too to match. And guys, I've been raw 4 years today. Tess said, all these compliments. Thank you. Oh, you did. I'm so glad. It's really weird. Like my brain thought that there's no way I can digest this. And I think in the past when I made food with cauliflower in it, I've done it with like cauliflower curry. Like I've done a curry sauce that's got chili in it, curry powder, all like doing just this seems to work. So I just get like a, I don't know how much crunching you can hear. I don't know, I like this so much more. It's so me. I was always a savory, salty type of girl. So this really suits me. And if like you make a bowl like this, here's my suggestion. Have a few mouthfuls and do something. You don't have to eat the whole thing in one sitting. I say eat till you're comfortable, put it in the fridge, and then come back. Okay, if you guys know how I started before I ate this food, my parents and family and close friends were like blown away that I could even get up and talk to people and start walking, running, build a website. So for them, it's like a no-brainer. And I was saying the other day, my nieces would only have known me eating raw food. They would just think it's weird if Auntie Sky ordered cooked food. But I do know a lot of people are already very sick, and then they like go to a family event, and they probably tried other diets before, and they're like, this time I'm eating raw. And it's not that your parents or family are wrong, it's just what they've learned. They're trying to protect you because they don't want you sick, they want you to survive. But I think it's part of that like spiritual journey. You can't take away the healing of physical and spiritual, that you start having to believe in yourself more than the voices you've heard in the past. And a lot of the voices we hear in the past are what the rest of the world thinks. So much so that when I healed myself, I had not been able to like read or write or really talk to people for years. So those voices had faded away, but everybody else is not really battling themselves as much as walking outside and seeing that nobody eats like this, that, you know, it's pizza, it's chicken, it's coffees, it's going to a cafe and eating something which is not going to serve them. And I just think that a lot of people are placed in a situation that will get the gift of living the life of their dreams, but they have to overcome spiritually, accepting that maybe what they believe and feel is worth more than what people around them keep at them. Because I really can't take away, as I heal physically, I also heal spiritually. And it's really, that's the battle, is what we think, this construction or the matrix is just what's out there versus, hey, I do feel better when I eat this way, yet I justify eating a piece of pizza because it makes my mum feel better that I eat her homemade pizza. Part of you accepting, part of you healing spiritually and physically will be, Mum, I love you, but I have to do this for me right now. That's just an example. And I believe everybody's faced with this different spiritual awakening and healing journey. And another thing I talk about a lot more is how when I was eating like a lot of fruit and doing that is how I thought I was superior. You like, that's wrong, I'm right. And now I've really come full circle in that huge part of my spiritual journey is love. And I hopefully loved that when I was going through some of my worst times, that others had compassion for me and didn't sit there and judge me when I was battling my own demons. And that's what I feel I've come full circle and found this, because it's really accepting that, yeah, at one time I believed that we ate just fruit. That's just the way it was. If you look at people who eat just fruit and do well, they are living on a tropical island and they're not in here eating watery fruits. They're on a tropical island eating tropical dense fruit. So they're surviving outdoors more with more sunlight, eating denser fruits. Yet we beat ourselves up for sitting inside in a westernized society eating watermelon. It doesn't make sense. So I just believe the planet is quite dense, and that's my take on it. But sorry, I've gone off there. But When it just eat fruit in peace. Yes, I love that. I do love that. Literally the same I had to have. Yeah, and I think part of it is also, I say to people, just say you work on yourself for 6 months and you say no to family for 6 months. You say no to everyone for 6 months, but then for the next 40 years, you have your health, yourself, and your family has the person they always wanted. It's worth saying no. And a lot of the time saying no, we get these uncomfortable feelings that we've created thinking that we should value others above ourselves. That's another thing I had to learn, is I wasn't getting well until I stopped valuing that. Like a lot of the time when I was really sick, I didn't go out much, but if I got up to go to dinner or a wedding, is I would have to take extra amounts of medication. I would have to be in extra amounts of pain. And the only time I ever sacrificed myself seemed to be for other people. And I think we all have that story. So part of it is now knowing what works for us and honoring that and doing that for ourselves. I really don't like standing here. Standing eating isn't like very comfortable. So, yeah, I think it's like, I just cannot separate that spiritual and physical journey. I can't reach my phone. Need longer arms. Yeah, there is also, if you've ever eaten fruit or veg straight off a tree, it's almost like magic. Like, I don't think we can really understand how much it changes by who touches it and how it's processed. So we're sitting around all these lights, we're not grounded, we're not getting much sunlight, and then we think we're poisoned and have to eat watery fruit. Well, people living on beaches aren't even eating watery fruit. Sometimes they are, yes, but you see them eating denser foods, and they're mostly getting that. A lot of them can get it straight off the tree, or they know the person who's just picked it. So we have to be kind to ourselves and eat what serves us. As this sits here, it will actually get wetter, whether that's something which works for people. Yeah, one of the things I thought, so Tessie said I didn't grow up knowing to value myself, is we're taught from the age we can talk and get to school is to care about what's in a textbook, to learn how to work for somebody else, to learn to only listen to the teacher. If you do what you want to do, you're punished. If you step outside the lines, you're punished. So it's no, you go to university, you've got to do what everyone else says. And so it's no wonder that when it comes to self-love, we've never done it. Like, I feel like school should just be self-love. I feel like the world would just work. Everything I do now comes from self-love, whether it's the food, my exercise, my job, and everyone deserves that. But that's hard work to get there because we're so conditioned. Like, that's that huge thing. It's hard to say no. It's really hard to say no because you've been told that if you say no, you're selfish. And yeah, I had to learn that. And I think I worked so hard to get up out of bed that if I went to like a family occasion for only 2 hours, not the 6 hours, where people are having course after course and alcohol, I think people understood. But most of all, I understood. I couldn't be around that all the time. So, I need to grow my own food. I'm in an apartment. We don't even have like grass here, but that's no excuse. I can actually grow it. Like some tomatoes or something on my balcony. I just haven't yet. Oh. All right, guys. I feel like I'm not someone who I feel like I can eat on camera. I feel like I can talk, but not eat. You know, if I was to bestow one thing on the world, I wish tomorrow I could wake up and everyone could feel that their job here is to love themselves, because it's so hard to do. But like, it's what I wish on everybody. I think loving ourselves is just, you find your way through love. Like the answer is always love. I've got something in my tooth. No matter what, I decide to do this for myself every day because I love myself. I decide to go for a run because I love myself. I love to be a coach and get on YouTube because I love myself. And I would love everyone to experience that. So what are you going to have for dinner when you're done? So this is lunch, and then usually I wait a couple of hours and I probably have some fruit. And then within a couple of hours, I usually have something very similar to this, maybe a different combination of veggies. And then sometimes what I find some days my body will only want, and this morning I've had a matcha. So there's been some hemp milk in that. I think I've had 2 green juices, this, and usually I'll have another one like this, and that's it. And some fruit, as much fruit as I want. And I know people are usually like, well, don't you lose a lot of weight? I haven't, not yet anyway. I think because I'm in healing mode. I think I was so inflamed. Am I hungry as well? No, I'm still full. This is like really filling. And if you are, I would say have a little bit more fruit or use some flax oil. But if I looked at it like I need to get all these calories in like I was doing before, I just end up with mast cell activation syndrome. So yeah, it's really, I'm probably only having like 1,200 calories a day at the moment. But I'm trying not to like look at it like that because my body seems to be doing better and I'm not hungry and I'm still exercising and I'm out of bed. So, but yeah, if I wanted more calories, I mean, 1 tablespoon of flax oil is like 160 calories or something. And after I've had a flare up, literally, I'm probably having like 7 or 8 tablespoons in one meal, which seems like a lot, but because I'm so flared up, so I just go with what my body wants. But yeah, I don't know, some people might be okay with avocados. I'm not saying this is for even anybody else. I've only got that kit below in my description because it's what I'm doing and I seem to be doing well. And yeah, I am going to Queensland tomorrow, and hopefully about this time tomorrow, or maybe a little bit later this time tomorrow, I will be on a live with Freely, which will be really exciting because she's up that way if everything goes to plan. So yeah, I'm going to go enjoy this. Yeah, sometimes I have like maybe not this big, but a smaller amount of veggies and lots of. Sometimes when I get hungry, I will do a bowl with very small amount of very small amount of veggies and lots of flax and chia. Like I can do sometimes like 4 or 5 tablespoons in one sitting, but not much veggie. So my body's like push and pulling. And sometimes I do like 3 of them a day. And then sometimes I have a day where my body doesn't want as much and it'll do more veggies. It's like, and whereas other times I'll do, as I said, like all day I'll have like lots. So yeah. Yeah, Freely's amazing. So hopefully this time tomorrow we'll jump on and do a live. Yes. Okay, have a good afternoon and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.